Hello everyone, this is Axel for Air, and today I'm trying to take you through with a amazing template that I have prepared. This template basically gives all the project managers and all the program managers across the globe an opportunity to create weekly, monthly, and quarterly Gantt charts or timelines based on one data set. In this file, you will find a total of 6 sheets that are there. In the first sheet is the index. This just gives you a view on what exactly we are going to talk about. And then this sheet will also give you the link to the next 5 sheets that are there in this file. Please do not delete the index sheet, as the code in this Excel file works based on the index sheet only. If I then go to the timeline weekly sheet, it will give you an idea on how the timeline is going to look like. As you can see here, on the left hand side, we have the 2 levels at which the timeline has got generated. This is the level 1 and then this is the level 2. And on the top, you will see the month row, then the week row, as well as the day row. Basically, this is a weekly/daily timeline chart that will give you a very good option to generate the timelines based on the weekly, daily, and monthly basis. Now, the question that you would like to ask is from where you will be able to plot these lines, plot these chevron lines. And the answer to that question will be answered in a short while. The next sheet is timeline monthly, where the same set of data is used to generate the timeline in a monthly fashion. As you can see here on the top, you will see the continents, country. This is the level of data that I've used for now. And then in terms of chevron lines or the Gantt lines, you will see various tasks have been plotted over here. On the top, you will see the month as well as the calendar week of each of those months. Then comes the timeline based on quarterly basis, which will give you a clear view on the quarterly picture of the same set of tasks. In this file, you will find a sheet called as settings that basically gives you a flexibility of if you would like to define certain set of colors that should be used to plot the individual Gantt lines. And also it gives you a possibility or a feasibility if you would like to print the calendar weeks in the monthly timeline, yes or a no. Oh, sorry, in the quarterly timeline, yes or a no. If I then go to the master data sheet, which is the data entry sheet that we have, on this sheet you will see some buttons, some fields where you need to enter the values, and also a table where you can define what you want to use to generate the Gantt chart. In this table, the first 4 columns basically gives the flexibility to decide at what level you would like to create the grouping, something that you saw here. So I have used continents and country as level 1 and level 2 of information. And on this table, you will see that continents and country are the first 2 columns that I have provided. Along with this, I have also given city and activity, which also gives me the flexibility to generate the same Gantt chart based on city and activity as well. Then comes the task, and this is the field that gets plotted in horizontally in the chevron lines over here. Now, just for the sake of it, I have used continents, country, city, activity, which is nothing else but different types of sports activities, and the task. For the task, I have just given a generic task of played. Played means played that particular game. You can also change it to played the game 1 and then drag it down so that different tasks get generated. Now, to define at what level you would like to generate the Gantt chart, these are the 2 options that you can use. So currently, as you can see, that I have defined or created the Gantt chart based on continents and country. And this has primarily happened because of these 2 fields. If I change the values over here, if I define country and say city, and if I refresh the chart, automatically my chart will be refreshed. That is something that we will see in a short while. Now, within the chart, for each and every stream as and some substream, each and every Gantt line can be generated using different set of colors or different groups of colors, and the grouping logic based on which the coloring is going to be decided is something that can be chosen based on this field value. After giving these 5 column values and also giving the values like the start date and end date, I can also decide if I want to print these tasks in the weekly timeline, yes or no, or in the monthly and quarterly timeline, yes or no. And I can also decide the font size for that particular task. After completing this, if I just click on generate timeline weekly, the VBA will be run in the background and my timeline will be generated in the weekly time format. As you can see here, it has been generated. And now if I go on the right, I will see that my revised tasks have been used to generate the timeline. Similarly, if I come back to the master data sheet and click on refresh timeline monthly, my monthly timeline gets refreshed. And as you can see here, based on the country and city, this is what I have chosen here. The level 1 is country, level 2 is city. So based on country and city, my Gantt chart has been generated. Important to note here is that if I have multiple cities within the same country defined in that fashion, let's say I choose India for next four five lines just to generate the data. Now if I click on refresh timeline monthly, you will see that my country appears here as the first level, and then within the first level of country India, the remaining levels or sub levels of cities have got generated. So basically this gives me a flexibility on defining one swim lane and then further streams within that swim lane. Similarly, if I click on the refresh timeline quarterly, my quarterly timeline gets generated or gets refreshed. Now in this case, since the timeline is very small, that is why the name of the task has been plotted outside the Gantt chart or the chevron lines itself. If I do a simple thing, if I just decide, okay, instead of 2026, I want to give the year 2027 just to make the task um, bit longer, and let me do that. Just a second. Now if I click on refresh timeline quarterly, you see this? Automatically all my task names have been plotted inside the chevron lines. If I now change it just to give you a perspective to 28, 29, and if I now increase it, and if I click on refresh timeline quarterly, my quarterly timeline has got refreshed and it will look something like this. On the top, you will see that up to 2038 years have been chosen, and for every year, respective quarter has been plotted with the timeline plotted accordingly. So there is a VBA that works in the background to generate all these data points. I'm going to share this Excel in the link provided below. Please feel free to use the Excel, and in case of any questions or any concerns, please feel free to reach out to me on my email ID excelforair@gmail.com. That is EXCEL number 4 AIR@gmail.com. Go through with the file, go through with the sheets, generate the Gantt chart, play with it, and in case of any questions, get back to me. I'm also going to provide a downloadable link using which you will be able to download the file by paying a very nominal amount of fees. Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye bye.